All right, on today's Sudoku After Dark, where we're going to relax and solve a Sudoku puzzle, I've got a puzzle called Bullion by Marty Sears. Thought it looked interesting. It has a 2-star out of 5 for difficulty rating, but a 96% for the quality of the puzzle, so it should be very interesting. We've got pretty basic, pretty simple rules. An interesting rule I haven't seen before, though. So we've got normal Sudoku rules. In each row, column, and 3x3 box, we are going to place the digits 1 through 9 with no repeats. We do have a border on the puzzle, which I think is just for decoration. I don't believe that's important, but it's kind of a nice little touch. So then we have what I'm going to call Bullion rules. I don't know. The number displayed horizontally on a gold bar, such as right here, in row N, so this one would be in row 2, indicates the sum of the first N digits in the row. So this right here in row 2 is the sum of the first 2 digits. This gold bar down here in row 6 is telling us the sum of the first 6 digits in that row, reading left to right, and a 2-cell bar gives a 2-digit total. The silver bars in the columns work the same way, but they give the total of the first N digits in the column. So this cell right here in column 3 gives us the sum of the first 3 digits in the column. And again, the 2-cell bar gives us a 2-digit total. And that is all we need. So link in the description if you want to try this puzzle yourself. And I'm going to start right now. Interestingly, this one here, this is telling us it is the sum of the first 1 digit in the column. Well, whatever digit you put in there equals itself. So, I mean, it's kind of an unnecessary clue, but that's okay. I think the 9 is an interesting place to go because this gold bar and this silver bar are telling us this is the sum of the first 9 digits in the row, or the first 9 digits in the column, which is all the digits. Now you can do the math for yourself if you would like, but the sum of the digits 1 to 9 is 45. So we know right away that those must be 4 and 5, which is pretty interesting. Now this one here, this is the sum of the first 8 digits. So we know the whole thing is 45. And so we're only subtracting 1, which could be just 1. We could have a total of 44, except we can't have 2 4s there. In fact, we can't have any 4s there. So from that, we know it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, which can't be 4 or 5, but we need at least 6 here. And so this is going to be at most 39, 45 minus the 6, and at least 36 because of 45 minus 9 is there. So this is a 3, and it's 6, 7, 8, or 9. And in fact, these two are going to sum to 15, which is interesting. Okay, now we can look. We don't have an 8 column, but we could look at the 7 potentially. So these two, and these are on the end. So this is telling us the sum of the first 7 digits. So it's basically telling us the sum of all the digits in the row except themselves. So this needs to be something that equals 45 minus the sum of the 2 digits. So again, we could have like a 1 and a 2, but that would be like the minimum you could subtract and you'd get to 42. I don't think there's a way for this to be 40s. Now, is it going to be in the 30s is the question. I'm thinking it's going to be in the 30s. And they can't be in the 40s because if you put a 4 here, you're already subtracting 4 from 45, which gives you 41. And if you add one more, now you're subtracting 5, which would be 40. So it's not gonna work. It's gonna keep going down. You're not gonna be able to be in the 40s. Now, if this is maybe a good question is, could we get to the 20s? Is that even possible? Well, the biggest this can be is 9. If you subtract 11 from 45, you're only at 34. So no, you can't get down there. So this is gonna be a 3. So you're already subtracting 3, which leaves you with 42. And so now this digit, 42 minus that digit, needs to equal 30 plus that digit. So 42 minus the digit equals 30 plus the digit. Well, from 30 to 42 is 12. So I think you're going to need that to be a 6. So let's add these. 3 and 6 is 9. 45 minus 9 is 36. If you put something bigger, say 37, well, now you're subtracting. The problem is your sum is getting bigger, but you're subtracting more because you're subtracting 10. So you're going the wrong way. And the same if you go the other direction. If you make it 35, you're subtracting less, but your sum is bigger. And I just hit the microphone, which I should not do normally, but especially in Sudoku After Dark. So this has to be 36, which means this is not a 6, which means this is not a 9. Okay. Let's just keep going with what we've been doing. So this is the sum of the first 6 digits, which includes itself. Is that going to be helpful? I mean, we can think about the max and mins, right? The max you can do in 6 digits is 98765 or you could think of it as removing 3, 2, and 1, although we already have the 5 over here. But let's just say removing 3, 2, and 1. So if you remove 6 from 45, you have 39. So this is at most 39. Alternatively, if you remove 9, 8, and 7, that's 24 from 45, which leaves you with 21. So this is between 21 and 39. So this is a 2 or a 3. Now we do have the 5 here. So actually the minimum you can have outside of the sum is 125, which is 8. 45 minus 8 is 36. So it's actually 36 is the max you can do. And it would be 985, which is 22, from 45 is 33. So 33 is the minimum, but of course we can't do a double. So it's actually between, 33 is not the minimum. What did I say? 22, it would be 23. 23 is the minimum. So 23 to 36, that's a big range though. Because this second number can be just about anything. Okay, well it has to be a 2 or a 3. We know that. Do I want to keep working down these? I'm not sure I do. Well, some of the early ones could be helpful. Like this is row 2, and we want the sum of the first 2 digits. And it's a 2-digit total, but the max you can get is 8 and 9, which would be 17. So if the max is 17, there's no way for this to be anything but a 1. This could be up to 7. Yeah, that's a lot of options. Let's not put that in there yet. But we know this is 18. Now this one, can we get to 3? Can we get to 20 in 3? This is the sum of the first 3 digits. Well, 987 is 24, so this could actually be 1 or 2. Okay. This is interesting. This one, is the sum of the first 3 digits here, but it's a single digit total. But we could do 1, 2, 3, which could be 6. So it has to be at least 6. But, okay. What do I look at next? This is the sum of the first 6. This is the first 5. This is the first 5. We know there's a 3 down here somewhere. This is the sum of the first 7, but it's not quite as helpful as this one because this digit is included in the sum. Very interesting. I mean, this can be anything. This first 6. Well, I mean, what did we say? Let's think about what's not in the sum, right? We can have 6, 1, 2, and 3, which would leave us with 39. So this is at most 39. 7, 8, and 9 leaves, it's the same as this one. 7, 8, and 9 is 24, which 45 minus 24 is 21. So this is a 2 or a 3, as is this one. But does that help us? I don't know that it does. I guess let's keep going. Let's keep thinking about, so this is 7. Again, you're taking out 2. The minimum is 1 and 2, which would leave you with a 4 there. You could actually do 42 with a 1. Interesting. We've already got the 3 here. This might have to be a 4. Can we get to 2? Well, the maximum you can take out is 8 and 9, which is 17. 17 from 45 is 28. You actually can. Interesting. We could do 2, 8, 9 would work. Because you're removing 17 from the 45, which is 28. 2, 8, 9. Can you do 2, 9, 7? Yeah, you could. You could do 2, 9, 7. Could you do 27? I don't think so, because the maximum you can take out is 17, which is 28. We can't do anything in the 30s, so if we do 41, that would have to be removing 4, which would be 1 and 3, but we can't do the 3. If we did 42, you would be removing 3, which would be the 2 and the 1. And you can't do 43 or 44 or 45. So those are actually the options there, which is kind of interesting. We can do 42, or we can do 28 or 29. Unfortunately, this could be still a 2 or a 4. So that didn't help as much as I was hoping. Okay. Well, let's go on to this one. So this is row 4. It's the sum of the first 4. Well, the max we can do in 4 is 9, 8, 7, 6, which is 30. But we can't put a 0. And since the max is 30, we can't do 30 something else. So this is actually a 1 or a 2. The minimum you can do in 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 10. So we can go anywhere from 12, essentially, because if this is a 1, this would have to be at least 2. Anywhere from 12 to 29, although if we're in the 20s, we have the 2 there as part of the sum. So if this were a 2, we could do 9, 8, 7, which is 24, and 2 is 26. So if you did 9, 8, 6, then if this was a 6, you could do 9 and 8. 8 from 26 is 18. Oh, actually, you can't do 26. You could do 25, though, right? Could we? Let's think about this. So, oh, interesting, interesting. Okay, let's assume this is a 2 for a minute. Whatever you put here, this is 20 something. Let's make it 8 for a second. 28. Well, you're subtracting, since that's all part of the sum, this 8, if I want to get what the extras are, you subtract this 8 from the 28 and you get 20. If it's a 5, now we're subtracting 5 from 25 and we're getting 20. So whatever digit this is, you end up with, once you remove it, you end up with these 3 sum to 20. If you subtract the 2, these 2 sum to 18. The only way to get to 18 is 2 9s, and you can't put 2 9s in the same row. So this must be a 1. That is quite interesting. So now we can do the same kind of thing. We're saying, you know, whatever this number is, 8, 5, 7, whatever, we're essentially taking this total, which is that teen, 15, 18, whatever, minus that number, we get 10. So these 3 equal 10, minus the 1, these 2 equal 9, which there's a lot of possibilities for that, but this is definitely a 1. And now I wonder about this 5 row here, because we've got the same kind of thing going on here. This is the sum of the digits, and they're part of it. So you're doing the same thing. Let's say it's in the 20s, 30s, whatever. You take out this digit, and effectively these 4 now sum to that total. So could this be 30, first of all? This would be 3. These 4 would have to equal 30, minus 3 is 27. These 3 have to equal 27. Well, the max you can do is 9, 8, 2, which is only 19. So this can't be 3. It can't be 1. It has to be 2, which means this is 1 and this is 3. Very nice. Okay. And now, so we know these 4 equal 20. Minus 3 equals 17. These have to be 8 and 9. Okay? I feel like it's getting even darker in here. I know it's Sudoku after dark, so it's supposed to be dark, but I feel like the screen's getting even darker. Okay, it doesn't really matter. So this digit is kind of irrelevant at this point, but that's okay. What do we want to do next? Can we do anything here? No, we can't. What about, we got this 3 now. Is that going to be helpful? So this is the first 6 digits, and we know it has to be in the 30s. We're already subtracting 5 from the 45. So these 3 are going to equal the 30-something. Plus these are going to equal 45. Minus 5 equals 40. So these 2 subtracted from 40 are going to give you, so these 2 could be anything from 1 to 9, essentially. Well, it can't be 1, it has to be at least 3. So this is at most 37. Can't be 5, it can't be 3. It can't be 2. Okay. Do we know any more about these 6? Don't know that we do. think it could still be in the 20s or 30s. This can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, or 9. So it's 5, 6, or 7. I don't know if that's helpful. All right, well, we haven't looked at this row 5 here yet. So let's go ahead and do that. It's the sum of the first 5. So it's not like this one. It's not inside of the digits aren't in the total. But we know it can't be 40. So I guess the minimum we can subtract is 1, 4, 2, I suppose, which is 7 from 40. Oh, but we need an extra one here. It's the sum of the first 5. So this could be, well, this would be 5 in that situation because we've already got the 2 and the 3. That's kind of interesting. 5, 1, 2, 4, 5 is 12. 12 from 45 is 33. So, and obviously this says 12, but 12 from 45 is 33. So that's the most that our sum of 5 can be, essentially. Could we get down to the teens? Because the thing is, one of the digits you're subtracting from the 45 to get to your sum includes this one. So over here, our sum was part of, the digits in the sum were part of the sum. Here, the digits in the sum are part of the part we're taking away from 45 to get the sum. I don't know if that's the best way to think about it, but that's how my brain's thinking about it. And so if you have 1 here, 1 and 4 is 5. We're already down to 40. So 40 minus these 2 is going to equal your sum. And 8 and 9 is the maximum there, 17. So 40 minus 17 is 23. So we can't get to the teens, including a 1 there. So we could do 2. I guess another question is, can we stay in the 30s? So we've now subtracted 7, which gives us 38, minus these 2 would have to equal, so 38, and this digit is being subtracted from 38 as well, plus this one. So, if this were an 8, for example, well, now you're subtracting 7 and 8, you'd be all the way down to 30. So if we do, say, a 6, we're down to 32, which is already below. So let's go down really low. Let's say 31. We're now subtracting 8 from 45, which is 37. This would have to be 6. If this is 32, you're subtracting 2, 3, and 4, which is 9 from 45, which is 36. So you'd have to subtract 4 more, which is not going to work. You can't do 33, you can't do 34, you can't do 35, because we've already got the 4 and the 5. So 31, I think, works, actually. You're subtracting 14 from 45. So 31 works. 31 works. Let's think about the 20s. Well, remember that 31 works. Can we do something in the 20s? Well, we're subtracting 6 from 45, which is 39. Let's just say 9 more. That gets you to 30. This would have to be 1. That would work. That would work. If you subtract, let's see, if we do 8, 28. So now you're subtracting 14, you get to 31. This would need to be 3, which doesn't actually work, but 27, subtracting 13 from, that's 32. 32, and we need to get down to 27. This would have to be 5. work, I believe. Yeah, it would. So we know 31 works with, what did we say? We're subtracting 8, 37, 31, so 6. The 6, 1, and 5. 27. Okay, so there's a few things that work there. This is 2 or 3. I thought that was going to be more helpful than that. But 42, 28, and 29 all work down here. Here's something interesting. The 4 and the 5. Look at this, 4 and 5. You can't put a 4 or a 5 in any of those cells. You obviously can't put a 4 or a 5 in the cell that has the 3. We also can't put a 4 or a 5 in that cell where the 289 goes. So these two must be 4 and 5. Therefore, this is 4 and 5. This is 42, meaning this is 3. And I believe we already found out that 31 was the only option there, making this a 6. Those are not 6. This is 25 or 27. But I think we said it was irrelevant, right? Because these are 17, 18, 19, 20. So whatever that is, it completes the sum. But that's interesting. This is 31. Okay. 42. These 7 have to equal 42, which means there's 3 not in the sum. So this has to be the 1. Okay, these are 7, 8, and 9. Very interesting. Okay. I think we can do some stuff with 1s now. Look, we have 1s up here and 1s over here. So this is a 1 up in the corner. The 1s here, give us a 1 down there. The 1 down here must be up there. So we have a 1. Okay, we have 1s in those spots. We've got a lot of the 1s, but not all the 1s yet. Okay, we know those are 1s. Do we know? What else do we know? This is 36, 37, or 38. But if it's 36, this is 9. If it's 37, this is 8. 38, this is 7. Yeah. This is the first 6 digits. So these are now a minimum of 2 and 6. Let's think about that. So this is a minimum of 13. So we're subtracting at least 13 from 45 to get our sum. 13 from 45 is 32. So this is at most 32. So it can't be 34 or 37. This is 31, which gives us our others, which means these are, we want it to be 31. We need to subtract 14. We already have 5. These have to be 9, which can't be 1, 8, 3, 6, or 4, 5. They must be 2, 7. And the 2 down there is going to give us the order of those. So this is not a 7. These are 4, 6, 8, and 9, but I'm not sure anything more than that at this point. Up here, we have 6, 8, and 9, but I don't know if that's super helpful. We do have a 7, 8, 9 triple, so these are 2 and 3. And the 7 has to be down here, so that one can't be a 7. Okay, well that's something. We know there's a 4 in here, there's a 5 up here. The 3. 3, 3, 3, this is a 3, which gives us the 2 up there. Very nice. So the first 6 digits sum to 20 something. Well, we already have 2, 6, and 1, which is 9. So these three, and if you subtract this one from your total, these three sum to 20 minus the 9. So 11? No. 20 something minus that. These 5 sum to 20 minus the 9 gives us 11 for these two. Well, it can't be 2, 9. It could be 3, 8. It could be 4, 7. It can't be 5, 6. These are 3, 8, or 4, 7. And we know this is the sum of the first three. But that could be a lot of things. Okay. So, threes again. We know 3, 3. There has to be a 3 up here. And that 3 gives us that one. So the first 4 digits sum to 13. These two are 4. These two sum to 9. These two sum to 9. It can't be 1, 8, 2, 7, or 3, 6. These actually have to be 4 and 5, which gives us a 7 there and a 5. Very nice. And that gives us the 4 and the 5. These are 8 and 9. Don't know much more than that. This can't be 7 or 3. So these three are 14 or 18. These are 4, 5, 8, and 9. Oh, the 8, 9. This is actually a 4. This is 5, and these are 8 and 9. How about that? Okay. So these three sum to 14. There's a few ways you can do that. Don't know if that's helpful yet. Look at the 4s. 4s here, here, here. Normal Sudoku stuff. Look at that. We get the 4. These are going to be 2, 6, and 7, but the 2 can't be here, so that's actually the 2. These are 6 and 7. The 6 there gives us that. These are 3, 6, and 7. Don't know much else yet there. 7, 8, and 9. These are 2, 7, 8, and 9. Let's see. 5, 8, and 9. The row. Don't know much more than that yet. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So where do we need to look next? These are 13. We know that. These are 30, whatever. 45, 25, 25. We've already got all that. 31, yep, 45, 42, 36. Okay, maybe we can we figure out what this one is? The first two. It's something in the teens, but I don't know much more than that. Okay, well, we're getting somewhere. We're making some progress. We're making progress. 14. Can we do anything with the 14? I don't feel like that's super helpful, but we don't have 1 or 4. You know, 2, 3, and 5 makes 10. That's our minimums. We actually can't use 2 and 3. That's interesting. So actually our minimum here is 2, 5, and 6, which is 13. So we could do 2, 5, 7 or 3, 5, 6. I think those are our options. 2, 5, 7 or 3, 5, 6. This one, obviously, these can't be 3. This one can't be 5. 2, 5, 7 or 3, 5, 6. I think that's the only ways to make 14, because we can't do 2 and 3, or else there's nothing to put here. So there has to be a 5 either way, doesn't there? If you don't use a 5, 2, 6, 7 is the minimum you could do, which is 15. So yeah, we have to have a 5. Well, that's a little bit interesting. That puts a 5 up here, and the 5 there gives us the 5. Okay. That was surprising. We have 6, 8, 9 for the column. So these are 4, 7. Oh, 6, 8, and yeah. Okay. 6, 8, and 9. This puzzle is making me thirsty. Kramer would deliver that line much better. I feel like we don't know the 14. This could be a lot of things still, because it's the sum of the first two. And I mean, it can't be 8, 9, so we can't get up to 17. Oh, well, that's interesting. So it has to be less than 17, but we can't do 2, 4, 5. We can't do another 1. So this is 3 or 6. It's 13 or 16. 16 would be 7 and 9, which we could do, I think. But it's 3 or a 6. And these are 3, 6, and 7. But this could still be 13 or 16. If it's 13, you can do 9, 4, 8, 5. We can do 8, 5. Could do 9, 4, though. Could do 6, 7, 2, 5. No, you couldn't, because if you do 6 and 7 here, this is a 2. You've got a 5. It would have to be 2, 5, 7, but we couldn't do that with the 6 and 7. So if it's 16, if it's 13, it has to be 4, 9. If it's 16, it has to be 7, 9. So we have a 9 in there either way, meaning this is 8 and 9. This is not 8. Okay. This is also not 9. This is 6, which means this is 13. This has to be 4 and 9. Okay. The 3 here, gives us that, but it also gives us the 2 and the 3 over here. These are not 6. The 8, 9 means this is a 6. Okay. Okay, we're getting there, slowly but surely. The way we like to do them at Sudoku After Dark. So where are we gonna go next? We know there's a 5 in here. This is 2, 5, 7, or 3, 6. It can't be 3, 6, 7. If it's 3, no. 3 leaves 11. 3, 5, 6. 3, 5, 6, or 2, 5, 7. But it can't be a 3. The 3 is gone. The 3 is gone. So we need to be, so we can't use the 6. So this is 2, 5, 7. This is 6. That's 7. We have 8 and 9 for the row. These are 4 and 7, and we get the order from the 7. These are now 3, 6, and 8. This one can't be 3. That one can't be 3. This is the 3. Okay. Okay, we're making good progress. Filling in all of our bullion. This is the sum of the first 3. Which, I mean, if we do 8 here, then this is at least 11. It has to be a single digit, so this has to be 6. That's the 8. So we've already got 7. We have to do 2 in order to stay in single digits. So this is a 9. 8 and 9. 4, 9. This is 7 and 5. Okay. Where do we go next? 4 and the 9, the 8. What do we got left in this column? 5, 7, and 8. Is that helpful? This one can't be 5. That one can't be 7. This one can't be 5. So that's the 5. Ah, look at this. A 7, 8, 9 triple. This is a 6, which we've actually had for a while because of those 6s, but that's a 6. It's 36 for the first 8. 36 from 45 is 9. This has to be 9. 8, 7, 8, 9, 8, 9, 8, 9. The 8 gives us the 7, which gives us the 8. Beautiful. These are 2, 8, and 9. This one can't be 9. This one can't be... Oh, neither of these can be 8, so that's an 8. These are 2 and 9. For the row, we need 2 and 7, and we have the 7 up there. That 2 will give us the 9 and the 2. The 9 will give us the 4 and the 9. And our final digits, in this column, we need a 6. And in this column, we need a 4. And that is going to do it for Bullion by Marty Sears. Very interesting puzzle. A neat rule set. I hadn't seen these Bullion rules before. Very cool. I really liked having all the types, really, where we had the sum outside of, or the total on the bar outside of the sum. It wasn't contained in the sum. And the ones where it was contained in the sum. There was some interesting math we could do there. Very cool puzzle. Very fun. Yeah, so let me know if you tried it out for yourself, how it went for you, and if you were just following along with me, what you thought of the puzzle. And, of course, thank you to Marty, and thank you to everyone watching. And as always, be sure to subscribe for more.